Looks like we're 1 minute late, it's 9:01, let's call the meeting to order. Um, And if I can ask you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're right, there is feedback when you don't Zoom doing that. Next is recognition of the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Bunker Hill, led by Commissioner Gukowski.
I was going to let Bill say anything he wanted to say
Okay.
about it first, and then I'll take off. Anything you want to say about the Battle of Bunker Hill, Bill?
I wasn't there, unfortunately.
Oh, I thought he was implying that you were.
We have been telling people all week that was a different story. So today is the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Bunker Hill. It was actually fought on Breed's Hill in Boston, and you may remember it from your elementary school history classes on the Revolution. But early in the Revolution, in the first acts during the Siege of Boston, it was the first real big engagement where the British had many, many casualties. And it was a tactical victory for the British, but they learned that day that it wasn't going to be an easy task to take over the colonies, and after inflicting many casualties, they took a different stance on how they were going to handle the rest of the war. So why are we talking about it today? So many years later, the Revolutionary War painter John Trumbull painted this portrait, which is the death of General Warren at the Battle of Bunker Hill. And as you can see, in the top left corner here is the New England flag, of which Lincoln County is the only current governmental unit or territorial anything that has this flag as its official flag. And I'll read to you a little bit from the Lincoln County News in 1990, which kind of went over how this came to be. It was a special project of, don't let me forget the name, Polly White and her husband, Lieutenant Colonel John White, who popularized the flag in Lincoln County. And I don't want to get into too many myths, but it says here in the Lincoln County News, it is believed that this flag was the bannermen from Lincoln County on the historic day, June 17, 1775. However, Lincoln County at the time encompassed a much larger area than at present and was part of Massachusetts. So during the bicentennial years in 1976, this flag was popularized by the Whites and circulated around Lincoln County, and in 1977 was made the official flag of Lincoln County, Maine. And we are recognizing the Battle of Bunker Hill today on its 250th anniversary, and there will be a lot of events happening in Boston today. But that is our connection from then to now.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, next is our public forum, and I see we have a couple of guests. I know that one is here for another agenda item, but do we?
Emily's here for
Oh, okay.
planning office,
Yeah.
and Judy's here for the
Okay,
jail authority
got it.
membership.
Perfect. All right, so now we're going on to the update from the CLC YMCA Community Navigator Program. Casey, take it away.
Thank you. Casey Clark Kelly, CEO of the Central Lincoln County YMCA, and this is Mark. I'll let him introduce himself and his role.
Yeah, my name is Mark Heimbaugh. I'm a community navigator at the YMCA. My supervisor is Karen Ann Hager-Smith. You might know her. She's gone today. She is the director of outreach and community navigation.
You can go from here.
Yeah, I'll just tell you a little bit about what we do. I think Bill and Carrie, you've all heard this before, but I want to bring you up to speed, and then I'll tell you kind of what we're doing right now. So, we help people access programs, benefits, and resources, money and non-money resources. We call ourselves a referral service, but we're more hands-on than that. We'd like to do a comprehensive intake so we can get a full picture of a resident's needs and kind of tailor our assistance to the individual. We want to be a single point of contact for people in need. So we get referrals from 211, town offices, law enforcement, school counselors, and just a lot of people who come into the Y who are concerned about their neighbors or someone in their family. So a lot of people know about us by now. We have a helpline that we monitor weekdays during working hours. We have everyone sign a release of information that kind of establishes a formal relationship with them and gives us permission to use their name and information with other organizations and agencies. We cover all of Lincoln County except for Booth Bay because they have their own community navigator at the Community Resource Council. We don't really have any in-house funds. We try to push people out to the agencies that do have funds. We do have a small debit account that we use sparingly and for very specific things that we can't find other resources for. I should also say that we're not emergency, we're not crisis, we're not licensed case managers, and we don't do in-home calls, I guess. We have done a little bit of that, but we always try to partner with a police officer or EMS person, someone who can help us out with that. I think that's a pretty good overview of what we do. Some of the things that we're doing right now, we do a Fill the Y Bus food drive. We do a monthly at Main Street Grocery and Damariscotta, and we've started doing a quarterly at Rising Tide. We're just starting our back to school bash, starting the planning for it. It is in August 13th, I think. The last 2 years we've given away around 150 to 200 backpacks full of school supplies to students. And we do eye exams, and some of the local salons come in and do free haircuts. So that's fun. We also try to table at local events just to get our faces out there, and we have our flyers, and just to bring awareness to the program. We just did one at the Y. It was a CMP community connection event. We had a table set up for that. We did one at the library for a food resource partners event. So that was fun. I think that pretty much covers what we do. This one's the April 1st quarterly report that we sent to you. We're going to have another one come out soon at the end of June. This little PowerPoint presentation, I'm not going to go through it, but it's a pretty good illustration of what we do here. The scenario example page is a good one. It just kind of takes you through from phone call to just kind of our thought process to providing assistance.
And I'll just add a little bit of background about our partnership with the county. We launched the Community Navigation Program in 2020, towards the end of the year, in response to the needs of the pandemic that we were seeing. And we partnered with many local organizations to get that started, including the town of Waldoboro. And when Carrie and other county members started noticing the impact it was having directly on the residents of Waldoboro, we decided to move the partnership forward with the county. And I think we began in the end of 2023. Does that sound?
I think so.
And so it's been a really strong partnership. If you look at the report from Q1 2024, we were serving 384 individuals, and the following year in Q1, we served 731. So the impact and reach awareness just continues to grow. The acts of assistance, we're closing in on 2,000 in 2024. So the impact is increasing. The partnership has definitely strengthened our ability to serve the community, especially with the addition of Mark's position in the end of 2023.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out one of the good numbers on this chart is the new households assisted. We have roughly 50 every quarter, and we a lot of families will come to us once a year for heat assistance, so we'll see them once, and then we might see them the same time of year the next year. We don't count those as new again, so these are new people. So we're really proud of that.
When Lincoln County received ARPA funding, we made a commitment to fund this program for 3 years with the ARPA funding. So that's still in progress, and that'll continue through this year and all of next year as well.
What other funds do you receive for the program?
The partnership with the county fully funds this program.
Oh, it does.
So it's one of this most unique situations we have, and one of it's a blessing for us because it's one program that does such good that we don't have to fundraise for, because otherwise it's a fully funded program.
And are your costs just the 2 employees?
Yeah, it's mainly the employees and staff and benefits, as most of these programs are. There's some accessory costs, but they're
Yeah.
minor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a relationship with the Westport Island Helping Hands people?
So I've reached out to them a few times. We just don't hear much from them.
Yeah.
And last I heard, they weren't as active as they used to be. So
Right. Yeah, I was
I
just
don't
looking at
know.
your chart with 0 on Westport, so I wondered if people got filtered to their group or if there wasn't that much of a need there or whatever.
Yeah, we've had some residents there. We had one of our directors used to work there, so we were trying to get in with her, but it just hasn't happened. We would love to meet with the select board again and just see who's out there to partner with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good to know.
Have you had any really crazy requests?
One of them.
I know they
Karen-
have. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them that Karen Ann likes to talk about. It was someone new to town who was feeling lonely, and she went and found them a kitten.
Oh. Glad you said kitten, not boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever.
That is not a service we provide.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's probably a little bit beyond the scope of what you thought you would do. Well, it sounds like a great program serving a lot of people, and I'm guessing that just awareness is what has increased the numbers, and it's unfortunately there's that much of a need out there, but to be able to link people who need services with the people who provide those services is really great, and glad the county can support that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I will just add, we're at the end of our strategic plan at the YMCA, and so this year we'll be undergoing a strategic planning process. So we'll be doing a community needs forum, a reassessment, bringing in our stakeholders, individuals, just to identify any needs that we're maybe not seeing through community navigation, or just to reinforce where we are seeing those areas of need and where we need to focus our efforts from here. So we'll of course invite you all to the forum, and if you can't attend, we'll send a survey link. I'm just trying to get input from everyone and all the aspects of the community, what you all see.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Oh, it sticks on the,
Okay.
on the chair pad.
Let's go this way.
That works.
Next up, we have the minutes from the June 3rd, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Move to approve the minutes of June 3rd.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of June 3rd. All in favor, say aye.
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 It passes 3-0. Finance, way back there, come on.
You've got a public forum first.
We did that.
You already did that?
Yeah. Thank you.
Just wanted to make sure I didn't want to take the hot seat and then have to get back up. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Okay, so first we have warrant number 59 in the sum of $205,541.18. The majority of this was just under $140,000 to the state of Maine for the deeds monthly transfer tax. Followed up with the monthly utility bills and Motorola Solutions, which was the purchase of body cams for the SO.
What I don't get about that transfer tax is that we process it online first through the main tax portal. I'm not sure why we're not paying it through that, but then we go and then pay it through the county. So it is interesting that the state has us as all registries as a tax collector. So,
Yeah.
just an observation that I'd make. So do I have a motion regarding the payroll warrant?
Move to approve AP warrant number 59.
second,
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the payroll warrant number 59. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
aye,
Okay. 3-0, it passes.
Then we have payroll warrant number 12 in the sum of $268,275.97. You'll see on this, the overtime number continues to grow. We're starting to see an increase overtime consumption as we get into the summer months. Our population is starting to increase with visitors, and we are also starting to see some of our details pick up again for the sheriff's department. Staff are starting to take some paid time off, which also generates some backfill of shifts when you have the comm center and the sheriff's department working 24/7. So right now I'm not super concerned about the fact that it's over budget. We still have some pretty under budget numbers when you look at the regular wages.
I move 12, number 12,
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the payroll warrant. All in favor?
Aye.
Bill, do you vote?
aye,
Okay. That passes 3-0 as well.
So we've discussed reserve accounts in the past. Project Lifesaver is a project that EMA had taken on a few years back that serves the needs of children and adults with cognitive impairment by means of wrist or ankle bands. The program's seen declined donations over the last few years, and Lincoln County has historically done their best to provide these services to caregivers at little to no cost. Upon review of our reserve accounts, EMA has related funds to their departments that are no longer being used. So historically, we could collect in-kind money through EMPG, which basically meant we could tally up volunteer hours and collect a reimbursement on those, which was allowed to be used for anything that would be tied straight-faced back to an EMA service. We also had reimbursement for hazmat team for an oil spill, I think, that was in Alna years ago that was never used, and our hazmat team has since disbanded. We also have local EMA grant administration money that was drawn down to be used for the cost of administering the grant that, again, was never expended. So these balances continue to sit in the reserve account. And I would like permission to reclass the total of $5,072.64 from these reserve accounts to the Project Lifesaver grant for program and operation costs only. No training, no travel, just for these caregivers' services that their loved ones need.
Can you give me that amount again?
$5,072.64. It also cleans up some of these little reserve fund balances that we've been carrying for a while,
On dormant accounts.
right? It allows us to spend the money on something.
And then you
many-
close out the accounts at that point, or?
They're not physical cash accounts like at the bank. They're paper accounts on my
Oh, okay.
on my books.
Got it.
How many participants do we have in Project Lifesaver?
That, unfortunately, I do not know. That would be an Emily Huber question.
Gotcha.
I just manage the
Gotcha.
numbers.
All right, I move to reallocate the restricted funds for the Project Lifesaver account. $5,072.64.
second,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we reallocate the restricted funds to the Project Lifesaver. program for $5,072.64. All in favor?
Aye.
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 It passes 3-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and I did receive our audit for fiscal year '24. As we discussed, we have heard horror stories of other counties and municipalities who are years behind on their final audits. I did receive this yesterday. It did take some poking and harassment on my part to RHR. I'm sure they are annoyed by me by now, but I do my best to keep the process going as quickly as possible. The audit is clean. They found no major deficiencies. They ran into no problems with management. There were no material misstatements or uncorrected findings. The one thing I will bring you to is if you'll flip to page 14. That is our statement of revenues, expenditures, and change in fund balance, statement E. This shows that we are continuing to increase our financial wellness, which is our financial structure is continuing to grow in a healthy form so that we are doing this in a manner through budgetary and proper spending. You'll see at the bottom our general fund balance is sitting at just over $4 million. So this money is what we have for our unexpected, unanticipated expenses. Typically, GFOA likes to see this number to be somewhere between 20 and 25% of your operating budget. So right now we're sitting good. We have a healthy surplus that doesn't cause any concern.
So I have a couple of questions. The first one, looks like it's classified here as the intergovernmental revenues. Are those just grants? The $1.2 million that it has gone up significantly from the prior year. Oh, it's under ARPA. I get it. Okay.
Oh,
So that is all.
that's ARPA funding,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So we won't see that trend. It'll drop down again.
Yes, it
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Come
And-
look or come crook.
And then
Actually, next year you won't see those, you will not see ARPA funding in 2025's financials like this, because those will be considered deferred revenues.
okay, it's not cash accounting. It's accrual, and then you've already booked them. So.
Yep,
Anyway.
they're deferred because
Deferred,
technically
okay.
it's not revenue for us anymore. It's waiting to be expended.
Oh, right, okay. And then on page 7, it references under expenses, commissioners and prisoner support, but it looks like on 11, it's called administration and transportation. Is there any reason for the difference, or is that just the way the auditors classified that? Or they're the same, I guess?
It's the same.
They're the same accounts, right?
Right, they're
Okay.
the same departments, it's just
Okay.
it was just a matter of the change of the financial reports from one to the other when I picked them up off from my financials.
Okay. But it's the same account,
the same
so,
account.
yeah.
It's the same
nothing-
department, yes.
Okay. Super. Does anybody else have questions about the audit report?
I move to accept that report.
Okay.
Seconded.
It's been moved and accepted, seconded that we accept the auditor's report for 2024. All in favor? Say aye.
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 And it passes 3-0. So great job. No exceptions in there, and glad you're not doing anything funky that you shouldn't be doing.
Nope. I've got one more week of classwork on forensic finance and fraud degree, so no, I hope not.
Oh, okay. You wouldn't get a good grade if you had a bad audit report.
Exactly.
Do you get to pass this in for a gold star from the professor? No.
No, but I could probably get a that a girl.
There you go. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Emily, I guess you're up.
I have the sheriff's office report for you.
Oh,
Do you want that first?
I didn't realize it was more than the paper, but yeah. why don't you
So
go ahead.
the sheriff and chief deputy are also, they're at other commitments. The sheriff is at a meeting in Bangor, and Chief Deputy Maker is at Camp Postcard this week. So they've provided the jail count. We have a total of 159 inmates at Two Bridges Jail this morning. 21 are from Lincoln, 27 are Saginaw, 12 Knox, 51 Penobscot, 25 Waldo, 4 Federal, 19 ICE, and of the 159, 143 of them are pretrial, 16 are sentenced.
So normally, Chief Deputy Maker gives us a report of how long the various prisoners are there. Will that come later?
I will request it from him.
Thank
This
you.
is all that was provided to me this
Okay.
morning.
Yeah, that's helpful to have that on a regular basis, and he's been doing a great job so far, so,
Okay, I will reach out to him.
thank you.
And I have an answer for the question that you asked earlier, Evan, about Project Lifesaver. There are currently 5 active participants, and we receive calls every week to enroll new people. So it's not always the same person on. As people have a need, we add them. When they don't have the need anymore, we remove them from the program. And if you want a more in-depth presentation on it, Emily would be happy to.
No,
Bring
I
it.
didn't know it was this thing that people tended to exit, I guess.
Sometimes. If, let's say, somebody goes into a skilled nursing facility or
Sure,
is
okay.
hospitalized or something like that, we would take them off the program and then re-enroll them later if needed.
I see. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Now, we can bring Emily up. Just wanted to get you up here. It's
Aw.
like,
Good morning.
good morning.
So I have 2 agenda items. Both are fairly straightforward. The first is getting a approval and signature from you on our annual service contract with the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry. This is with the Maine Municipal Planning Assistance Program at the Department of Ag. They will be moving in a couple months to the new Maine Office of Community Affairs, which is meant to be a one-stop shop for communities to go to. So the state is taking a number of different departments related to planning and community resilience. The Maine Coastal Program is moving there. The Housing Opportunities Program is moving there. So that will come once the budget is passed at the state level. So likely, it was supposed to be July 1. It's been delayed, but probably this fall. But in the meantime, we're still signing this contract with the Ag Conservation and Forestry. This is an annual contract we have with them to provide technical assistance to our communities on land use planning. So ordinance writing, helping answer questions by either planning board or select board about how to operate, and kind of similar to MMA trainings, but we do those as well. This specific contract amount is for $1,231. It's for our inland TA to be provided. So we have 3 inland communities: Jefferson, Somerville, and Whitefield. We are still waiting. This contract will be coming to you to be amended to include our coastal communities. Some of that funding comes from NOAA, and so it's a little bit up in the air as to how much is coming, although we've been told it should remain the same as in years past. So that will be coming to you later, but this is a contract specifically for our inland TA to help communities. Like I said, Whitefield, Jefferson, and Somerville.
Any question that money would come even with the contract? It's,
For this specific
Yeah.
money? So this is from state funding, so this
Right.
we're anticipating will start, and it's for fiscal year 26, so we'll be able to start spending this money down come July 1. And then our coastal TA, they're anticipating will probably be about another month or so. They'll have contracts for us. We've submitted a draft work plan, and I have been told by my contact at DACF that they're anticipating that the money will remain the same. They're just waiting for the paperwork coming from the federal government to the state, and then dispersing to the regional planning organizations.
so I understand there's a move to, for people's veto of the budget, so tomorrow they have to have their signatures in. And I know some municipalities are concerned that there won't be state funding in the next fiscal year, if you will. So, but you don't have that sense of.
I don't have that sense for this particular contract.
Okay.
I think this, because I think it was two parts of the budget. The MOCA piece, the Maine Office of Community Affairs, was not funded yet, but the existing programs are still funded where they are housed now. So I don't have a significant concern, at least when it comes to this contract.
So this isn't in the supplemental?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Great.
Cool, move to approve Department of Agriculture Conservation Forestry Fund contract.
And it,
Second.
Did you want to say something
I
first?
ha-
or-
nope, go ahead.
Okay.
So this
Yeah.
has the requirement to have Commissioner Blodgett sign it. Can we change that to have me sign it?
Sure.
And can I get permission to sign this on your behalf?
So if you want to change the motion to add that,
Move to authorize our county administrator to sign off on the DACF fund contract.
Second.
well, I take the motion as approving the proposed contract and that the administrator will be the signatory for us. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Aye. So it passes 3-0.
and I withdraw my previous motion.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
I thought it was a sort of more of an amendment or a restatement of
It was part 2 of the motion.
it. There we go, that's right.
Correct.
He had a big comma after the first piece of it.
Okay, great, thank you. So the second agenda item that I am here for is to get your authorization to move forward on providing some very targeted assistance to two of our communities, both Booth Bay and Booth Bay Harbor. We are working on a transportation project that's looking at a rural transit feasibility from Brunswick to Belfast, so we're one of a part of a team, and we've been working with RCAP Solutions, which is a technical assistance provider that is based in Maine and the Northeast. And as part of that project, they are also working with an Economic Recovery Corp fellow. Her name is Elise Oliver, and through that program, they thought that Lincoln County might be or some towns might be a good beneficiary of what's called the Rural Infrastructure Strengths Evaluation, which is often called the RISE program, is an acronym. So we were approached by RCAP Solutions and Elise to see which towns might be a good fit for this pilot program. They're working currently on 3 other pilots, 2 in Vermont and 1 in Massachusetts. And it's essentially doing an economic development study, but instead of the normal, like, what are you missing questions that are being asked, it's what are your strengths currently? And so when they approached us, they asked us to think about communities or region that might be a good fit for this program. And so we had suggested the Booth Bay Peninsula because they are a community that's working to figure out housing but still need a need for it, especially around workforce housing. They have a huge seasonal economy, but also an interest in maintaining year-round residents and hopefully growing that year-round population. And so we made that suggestion, and they both RCAP Solutions and the Economic Recovery Corps fellow were both very interested. So we have had conversations with both town managers and the select boards of these 2 communities. And I have in front of me 2 draft scope of work from the Recovery Fellow. And in it we talk about, and it's just an agreement for this work. And so our work as the RPC would be very targeted, and it would come through, we anticipate coming through our coastal TA contract with DACF. So it's not necessarily county funds of our operational budget that would go towards this. And essentially what we would do is the Recovery Fellow would plan and facilitate community engagement opportunities, including a survey with municipal officials and other local channels, and our office would help get the word out. So through social media and our electronic newsletters, as well as some targeted direct outreach. The fellow will also arrange meetings with municipal officials and staff, so our office would really be helping to identify which municipal officials and staff would make sense for that outreach, as well as helping to schedule any meetings if needed. We would also work to help with identifying, recommendations and facilitating connecting the fellow with key community stakeholders. We would also be able to provide internal GIS data and shapefiles that we've already created if they need them as part of their GIS analysis, as well as any other background materials that might be useful to the fellow. And then we would also provide some targeted assistance in convening stakeholders to advance planning for specific development projects and RISE workshops, including what's unique about this too is that RCAP Solutions is a technical assistance provider. They often say that they want to put themselves out of business because they really want to set the communities up to implement this themselves. And so they're not just giving them a report and saying, best of luck and walking out the door. They will be there to help set up a plan for implementation. And so we would like to be involved in that process as well to see if there's opportunities for our staff assistants to be a part of that project. So, like I said, our work is going to be pretty targeted and minimal. Most of this will be coming from the Economic Recovery Fellow as well as RCAP Solutions, but we did want to put together just an agreement letter that will be signed by Elise Oliver as the fellow, the project director from RCAP Solutions, who we are also working with on our transportation project, the Board of Selectmen, and then myself on behalf of the RPC, which Carrie, if you prefer, I can get this changed to be you or the commissioners.
We'll let them.
Okay.
I guess I'm just not clear, the ultimate output, it's through the process, they'll have some type of plan that would be implemented.
Correct.
But what is the final goal of that plan Any was the plan, so.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's like,
So what they're looking to do as part of the plan, they will identify what economic development opportunities already exist and how to strengthen those in the community. It may also be that while they're working with the two communities and there will be some overlap, they also recognize the differences between the two towns and that they might have competing priorities, and so they will also focus on those priorities, individual priorities of the community as well. For example, Boothbay Harbor has been having challenges with identifying parking, especially for employees in the downtown during the summer season, and that they would like to identify locations for other parking areas or alternatives. Maybe it's a shuttle service or something else. And so that's not a need that Boothbay shares. They don't have a need for downtown parking, and so that's something that RCAP Solutions will tailor as part of their final report, identifying potential solutions to that issue. On the flip side, Boothbay has and continues to has an interest in seeing more workforce housing developed, and so as well as looking at figuring out future of the schools. And so it may be that those topics are looked at more closely for the town of Boothbay than Boothbay Harbor. So they will be working to individualize these economic plans for the two communities, and then what they will do is essentially set up a list of priority actions to be taken and work with the community to identify how they can undertake those goals. So they're not looking to write something that then is going to sit on a shelf and never be used until it's dusted off 10 years from now when another consultant comes in.
which in a lot of organizations, that's what happens with a lot of plans. So I'm glad that they state that up front, and hopefully they carry that through. Any other questions?
So you need a motion to approve contract with the
The
RISE?
letter agreements, yep,
Okay.
for both communities.
Move to approve the agreement between RISE Fellow and Boothbay Harbor for the RCAP project.
And who will
Or-
sign it in
We
your
will
motion?
we will have our county administrator sign it.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second, I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
It passes 3-0. Right.
Thank you.
Great. Emily, while you're here, can I ask for some follow-up on the packet that you had, the catalog of properties to be developable, and then your workshop that you had afterwards Does it look like there's any takers or ready to go?
So we've had a few really wonderful conversations, honestly, with sewer and water districts in the area. Almost all of them have responded. A couple had a couple of changes, which was helpful. So Laura's tweaked it a bit. We've heard from a couple of communities who have interest and have also asked, you know, if we get that site developed, can we infill with another site or can we give you another site now? So that's been promising. The other piece that's exciting is as far as, you know, next step in implementation of that site inventory, we have, I think I've been before you a couple months ago to talk about this, we received funding from the Department of Economic and Community Development's Housing Opportunities Program to identify how we might be able to extend sewer or water or both to priority sites. So we have done outreach to both the sewer and water districts as well as the municipalities that are served by those utilities to ask them to submit to us by the end of next week potential sites. So we have provided them our list and that priority catalog and said, you know, here's some options, but if you have others, we're also interested in seeing what those are. So we've been having meetings the past couple weeks with the sewer and water districts as well as a few municipalities, and I'm hoping that we'll get a robust response by the end of next week with some identified parcels to be included in that feasibility study. So we're moving it along inch by inch, but it's exciting.
Super, as I looked through the catalog, if you will, the biggest drawback that I saw was the lack of water and sewer. I think there was only 3 out of the whole properties that had that access, and that's, you know, for developers, that's a very expensive thing to bring in or to do a leach field or have the space there. So solving that maybe first will help bring us those other opportunities for affordable housing.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Sure.
And keep us informed if you would.
Will do.
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Now can we bring Judy up?
Absolutely.
Come on up.
So as part of our agreement with Two Bridges Regional Jail and Saginaw County, there's an operating and governance agreement that outlines how the membership on the jail authority is comprised. And there's a space for 6 members from each county, plus counties can have alternate directors to take the place of the full-on members. Currently, Lincoln County has former Commissioner Ham Meserve, myself, Commissioner Gudkowski, Sheriff Brackett, and Chief Deputy Maker as full board members, and then Commissioner Blodgett is an alternate. We have space for 1 full member and then additional spaces for alternates. And finding members on the jail authority has been a challenge in recent years. We've had some folks that were alternates that attended a meeting or 2 and then never came back. And we've had folks that just kind of vanished. And when I've approached different people in the past for membership, I don't get a lot of interest. So,
What's the reluctance to be part of that?
a lot of it is time.
Yeah.
We meet at 4 PM and the folks that really I think would add a great amount of value just don't have the time at that time of day to commit to bi-monthly meetings, but also special meetings as they come up and all of the in-between committee meetings.
And the authority board creates the policies for the jail? Is that their main mission?
The
Or-
jail authority creates policies, they set the budget, they make decisions on contracts and a lot of details in between there. So there's finance committee, there's buildings and grounds, there's policy, HR. I'm sure there's more than I'm missing, but we each have different memberships in the committees, and then we're members of the full jail authority. So, Commissioner Gudkowski asked if he could make a recommendation. And
Yes.
today, we have a member of the community that's interested. This is Judy Tunkel. She's from Dresden, and she's got interest in serving on the jail authority. And we'd like you to consider her as a member of the jail authority.
But Judy, I have a question for you. Is part of the sheriff's report I asked for a statement of list of the prisoners and how long they've been in the jail. And there's a significant amount of them that are over 100 days, more than a year. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts on the length of stays in the county jail. More, you know, at greater than 365 days, if you will.
My experience with prison has been ministry things and state facilities, and so coming to a county holding jail would be a completely new experience for me. But it, you know, it seems like having people for over a year, you know, that are there programs for them? Are there services for them? Or is it just hanging out, waiting until their number comes up?
Yeah. And that's the problem, is that I don't believe they're receiving the same services that they would receive at other institutions. And it's, to me, really a problem that needs to be worked on, but it's a very complex
Yeah.
issue, I'm sure. A number of factors involved, but nice. Would you like to tell us anything else about, I know that we've seen some written materials about your interest in being on the board?
Yeah, I mean, you know, prison ministry is something that's been important to me for quite a few years, and I have enjoyed the experiences that I've had. I think that the community being involved with people who are incarcerated is important for the people incarcerated, but also for the community.
Cool. Well, I'm excited that you're interested in taking it on.
Well, and yeah, I mean, it's an area that I would definitely like to learn more about. And you know, as a retired psychotherapist, I you know, look at things from less than the budget way of looking at it, but more the human individual way of looking at it.
Well,
it's-
that should be refreshing. We've got plenty of budget hounds on that group as it is.
Why are you looking at me?
No, I didn't look at you. I looked to you for approval in that sentiment.
But having a focus on the human element too is important, so it sounds like that you could bring that to the board. Yeah. Bill, do you have any questions for Judy?
No question.
Will you still be, if we approve Judy, will you still be in attendance at the meetings?
If that's needed, I will.
We always appreciate your input. Well, I move we approve with moving Judy Tunkel to be a full member of the Two Bridges Regional Jail Authority.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that Judy, is it Tunkel, as it pronounced properly, be appointed to the jail authority board representing one of the county seats. Is that, do we want to put it that way? Yeah.
It's a community member.
Okay, as a community member, yeah. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it passes 3-0.
And our next
Congratulations.
meeting is July 9th at 4 p.m. at the jail, and we'll try and get you a binder of all of the material in advance of the meeting.
That would probably be helpful.
I can
Yeah.
reach out to Colonel Bailey
That would be great.
and ask for a copy of that.
Yep.
And you can read all up on all that fun policy stuff, right? Well, thank you for your willingness to serve.
All right, well,
Alrighty.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Judy. I'll be in touch with some details.
Good. Take care.
Thank you for coming.
You too.
All right. Gore Road.
Gore Road. So it's the road work season in Maine, if you haven't noticed, and Gore Road is no exception. In Hibbert's Gore, we have a small little section of Gore Road that we're responsible for maintaining. Recently, the bridge approaches that were identified by the Department of Transportation were installed. So those are extensions to the guardrails for the bridges. I took a drive out down Gore Road just to see what else is still outstanding. I was in contact with the contractor that we use for the repairs, and he has the list and thinks that he can complete all of the items on the list. One of the items on the list, as you approach the bridge, there's the decking for the bridge, and right before that, where the road ends, there's a significant dip where the gravel and the road surface has worn away with snowplow and storm runoff, and they needed to add gravel to that to fill in and make it level with the bridge decking. So there's 2-inch gravel that was purchased, 216 yards of it, and it was installed at a total cost of $3,888. This will come out of the UT funds that we already have in hand. We submit a budget to the state annually, and this is one of the items that we anticipate needing to purchase annually. So there's funds there available to pay for this, in addition to all the future repairs that I have outlined with the contractor.
So did the contractor suggest that we'll be doing this every year? Is that what I heard you say?
We add gravel to the road in some capacity annually, in addition to the grading that's happening annually.
But specifically at the approach where it's washed out now?
So
or-
this particular section hasn't been a focused application of gravel. This is one of the things that were identified during the bridge inspection that needed to be done. The decking itself needs to be power washed, so all the dirt in the grates can be removed so that the sun can actually dry the decking and prevent some of the rusting that happens on bridge decking. There's vegetation along the bridge that needs to be cut back so that, again, sunlight can hit the decking. And then there's some pilings that are beneath it that have creosote on it, and we need to make sure that we're doing maintenance so that the integrity of that is maintained.
Okay.
There's also other work. There's a big culvert and another section of the road that needs to be replaced. There's other grading and ditching that needs to happen.
And
So-
remind me how long of a road that is?
9/10 of a mile
9/10 of a mile, and we're responsible
for all 9/10.
For all 9/10, okay. Even the bridge, or is the bridge itself part of the state?
The bridge is
Responsibility.
part of the 9/10.
The 9/10,
It's
okay.
our bridge.
It's our bridge, okay.
Yeah. We get about $900 a year from the state for LRAP money for that small section of bridge, and that goes to offset the costs of the
Okay,
repairs that we anticipate.
got it.
Move to approve the purchase authorization for Gore Road Bridge gravel.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we authorize the purchase of the Gore Road Bridge gravel for $388. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
I'll have you sign this now so I don't.
There you go.
Yeah,
It's the only one I have.
because we want to run out after we're done, right? You can't catch us. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item I have is a notice of layout and taking for the town of Whitefield. This comes from the Department of Transportation regarding a cofferdam that they're installing on Route 194 in the Pittston Road section. It's slightly west of Chamberlain Brook Lane. And there's 4 different property owners that are involved in this. They didn't provide the deed information that they typically do. All we have is the plan.
And it's just slivers along the
Slivers
property along.
of the, I believe that they're installing a cofferdam that's larger than the existing culvert, and because the size is longer, they need
Right.
that little sliver of road.
Move to accept the notice of layout and taking for the town of Whitefield.
Bill, do you want to second that?
I will, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't hear the end of it.
That's all
I'll
right.
speak up.
There we go. It's been moved and seconded to approve the presentation of the notice of layout and taken for the town of Whitefield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
Thank you. We had a tax abatement appeal hearing on June 3rd, and a draft of the decision was provided, and the requested amendments were made to that decision, and we just need to have a formal vote on the decision so that I can notify the town and the property owners.
I will move to approve the appeal decision in Harkins versus Town of Whitefield.
And I will second that since Bill wasn't necessarily at the hearing. It's been moved and second that we accept the decision in Harkin v. Town of Whitefield, tax abatement appeal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
And Bill abstained. So it passes 2-0 with 1 extension. Thank you.
Okay, and I have that document in my office. I need you to sign
Okay.
the original of it.
And are we posting those online too, so the general public or people who are interested in considering the tax abatement appeals, that they could read those ahead of time?
I don't believe we have historically.
Okay. That's something we may want to consider just as a community service, so that people can see what the end result may or may not be, I guess.
So as these grow
Yeah.
in number, do you think it would be beneficial to have a separate page on the website just for tax abatement appeals?
I would.
Instead of lumping it into the county commissioner
Oh, yeah,
page?
I mean, it's something that makes it just easy to go straight to. I think it's important for people to, see that, and then they potentially could frame,
Yep.
Sure.
bring in theirs, yes. So definitely a separate page.
Separate
Okay.
page.
If we have the capability to do that.
We do.
Great,
I think that would be good.
yeah.
Okay, I'll add that to the old business
Okay.
for future meetings until we have it complete.
Perfect.
Speaking of old business, I
Yes.
asked the DA's office for an update on the restitution balance. Yesterday I got a notification that the deputy district attorney would give me an update on that, and I am still waiting for an update.
Can we ask that one of them appear at our next meeting, because it's been quite a while, and since you didn't get that update as promised, we should have somebody here in person to,
At the
Give us
July
a-
1st,
please.
I will ask somebody from the department to appear at that meeting. So, the next item, we've not had any further discussion on that proposal. The public safety building project, we've identified 4 parcels in Lincoln County that we're considering. Sheriff Brackett and I met last week to come up with a plan on how to approach the property owners. One of the pieces of property is currently for sale, so that one was an easy solution for us. And he has reached out to 2 of the properties, and I did research on the owner of the 3rd property because it was in a
Some-
non-personal
an entity
trust,
or
yeah, it was
something, yeah.
an LLC, so I
Okay.
have that information.
All
And I'm hoping either today or tomorrow I can
Okay.
reach out to the representative for that trust. The architects and project consultants that we have are ready to come on site to do site visits for each one of these parcels once we get permission from the property owners to do that. So that is happening, and they're just waiting for permission on that.
Do you think by our next meeting, we would have more, we would know if at least all of the property owners are allowing or considering it? Yeah.
We should. Sheriff Brackett said he's waiting to hear back on the 2 that he had. He
Okay.
left messages for both of them.
Mhm.
And I would think by July 1st, we should know whether or
Okay.
not there's interest or not interest
No,
on it.
okay, great.
And we have another tax abatement hearing that we need to schedule for the town of Whitefield. I have given dates to the petitioner, and I provided those to the town. I'm waiting to hear back from the town if they're available on either July 1st or July 15th for that hearing. And then the abatement that we had scheduled for June 24th that needed to be postponed, we're still trying to find some dates that all the parties can agree on. So it might be postponed until August at this point. The other dates that I gave in July won't work for the petitioner.
Okay, so we have 2 outstanding that we have to.
We have 2 outstanding, one for Whitefield, very similar to the last one we did.
That's the one that we're looking for July.
That's the July,
Okay.
and then the one from Bremen we've had for many months. They've been
Right,
asking for a delay on this themselves, so
right.
I'm hoping that we can get that one wrapped up
And
as
that
well.
was the one we had to continue because their council was unable to make it due
Yes.
to illness, so.
I'd be in favor of just tagging it on with our normal meeting on the 1st or the 15th, if any.
I gave those dates and they said no.
Good. Well, I don't know if I'm any longer in favor of giving them a whole separate day.
I think it may be needed though,
That'll be tough.
I know.
Yeah. Would you like
or-
August 5th offered?
That's what I would throw out there as the next offer.
Okay.
Just like. the
Because
whole-
if it's gonna be long, these aren't gonna be short no matter what. So
So do like the afternoon for that?
even 11, if it makes sense, with the pace of whatever agenda we happen to have
Yeah,
that day.
I think we'd have to see what the agenda is, but.
Yeah.
We've got some flexibility on how I schedule, like today, I knew
Right.
that we didn't have a full agenda, so
it had the
Having the-
Navigators, yeah.
the navigators here made sense for
Yep.
today. I can do something similar to that. And we're coming into budget time, so
Yeah.
a lot of our extra time goes to budget. So we've got some flexibility with that as
Okay.
well.
Well, I really don't want to go past August 5th if we don't have to. I mean, this has been continued a couple times.
This has
and-
been- Many months
Yeah.
we've been waiting.
And if we're not careful, they'll be adding the next assessed year in there, so we should get it done.
Okay.
So if you can impress upon the parties that August 5th would be really.
I think the town is anxious to get this
Yeah.
wrapped up as well.
Okay.
Okay, I will reach out. August 5th is a good date for all of us.
I hope so.
Okay, and I think that was all I had for old business. So,
Okay. Then for commissioner updates is I'll just point out to the other commissioners that Carrie had circulated information about the MCCA convention, and I would encourage you all to attend that. It sounds like it's gonna be a interesting program. I haven't been to them, but It sounds like it's shaping up to be a place that we can network with other commissioners and see what is going on in other counties.
I couldn't open the link on my phone. Did they finalize the schedule?
No, but they've
Okay.
issued the registration form.
Yep.
And the link for accommodations, if you
Yep.
wanted to stay overnight.
Okay.
Bill, do you have any comments? I presume you've been to these in the past. Have you found?
Have I attended them?
Yeah,
About 30 of them.
okay. And has it been helpful for you?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
I think that this convention is going to be very much more robust than it has been in the past few years. The
That's a scary
preview,
thought.
the last couple were a little mild on the
Substance.
programming. Yeah. So this year,
Okay.
I think that they have a full schedule of different sessions that we can attend.
And plus it's being hosted by Saginaw County, one of our neighboring counties, and we should probably be supportive
Yep.
if you can make it.
Where is that going to be?
Sabasco, Phippsburg.
Okay. We've had it down there before.
I've got a Coastal Counties Workforce annual meeting on the Friday of that series of days, so I'll have to escape for that
Yeah.
and then come back.
Maybe go back and forth. Yeah.
Yep.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I've committed to attending on Thursday for sure as one of the presenters on a panel.
And Andre was asking the counties to actually contribute various items for, I don't, what he said, for goodie bags or something like that.
Yeah, they have attendee bags, so if there's something that you'd like to highlight from your county,
Right.
you need to provide enough for all the bags.
Right.
But
Right.
um,
Battle of Bunker
Which
Hill
will-
flags. Or
Yeah, there you go. Which
I
will
don't know
be-
that I have enough of that.
Oh, okay. But
There's what,
if,
60 commissioners or something, 69 maybe, 67? We can add them up later.
but this isn't just for commissioners. It's
Maybe a few dozen other people.
including.
Right, they've
the-
invited the Sheriff's Association to have their meeting there. The Deeds Association will possibly have their meeting there. I know the administrators will.
Right.
They're looking for sponsors, aren't they?
They are. So that, I think that link came out today.
Oh, did it?
So I've got some vendors that
Maybe Fidium would be interested.
maybe Fidium
maybe.
would be interested.
Maybe they'd like to sponsor
I would
that.
love to suggest that they do that.
And I'm sure that Andre and Laurel would enjoy hearing from you with that information.
Okay. We'll see about that.
There you go.
On that topic of CCA and things, the legislature approved changes to 30-A 706 for the apportionment of county taxes. Has that come up in either LPC or on your end?
A lot of the stuff has been rolled over to the next session. I
This
do
one's
not
already
remember
was
that
already
one.
signed by
It was already
Mills.
signed.
And that's
Okay.
to allow counties to accept payment in installments? Is that the one?
Yeah, I guess to allow boards of commissioners to decide if they want to open up different payment plans, either quarterly, biannually, or whatever.
So there's, I'll have to look at the final language on that, but there's a part of 30A currently that
Right.
says that it has to be paid by the end of September, I think it is. If we have a municipality that wants to pay installments, we already allow that.
Yeah.
So it really
I
doesn't
didn't
have
know if
a,
there was any other language in there. I was looking at it the other day.
That was LD 286.
Sounds right.
we were approached by a couple different towns several years back, and it makes sense for them to pay in installments, and that's fine with us. When we issue the tax bill, we set up an accounts receivable for that whole amount, and then as they make multiple payments, it just reduces that receivable balance. If that's easier for them, it's fine with us.
Yep. Just didn't know if it had come up at all.
Yeah, we talked about that in LPC. There were some
Is that a regular thing?
LPC?
Yeah, is it a Zoom committee?
It's a Zoom committee. David's
You're on
on
it,
LPC. I attend most of them,
Yeah.
and
Do they have an email update or a newsletter or anything? I tried to get into that a while ago and.
they do have one. Would you like me to send it?
Sure. Forward them along. I talked to Andre and Laura, and that seemed like an impossible thing to get into.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if I'm hitting them right. Were they supposed to be weekly or monthly?
It depends on the session.
Okay, because
So-
I've signed into some and waited and never got in, so.
When the session is in, it's usually weekly. But we
Okay.
haven't had one in 2 weeks now because they're not introducing new bills right now.
Okay,
So we still get the update,
okay.
but we don't meet.
Yeah, I don't think I've received the updates either, so if you could check, just make sure I'm on that list. Because something is disconnected there for me.
We love reading material.
Yeah. I'll continue to say, I do represent us on the risk pool, and it's amazing, there's a number of claims out there, but most of them are vehicle related, hitting animals or animals hitting the vehicles. And then there are some serious challenges with behavior of county employees that, particularly one in, I think it's Somerset, but there was a jail employee that is accused of doing things that the person shouldn't have. And a former inmate is suing the county for it. So there's some big cases like that, and then other just a typical vehicle damage cases. And let's see, oh no, so it was Franklin one was the one. Oh no, there is a Franklin one with an issue with a probate employment suit as well. Any other updates? Bill, do you have anything you want to update us on?
No,
Okay, great.
LCRPC has their bi-monthly full board meeting tomorrow, 6 p.m. on Zoom.
Are they always by Zoom? Or is it-
They have the one annual, they have multiple Zooms, and there's a couple hybrids.
Okay. And how has attendance been from the towns?
Improving all the time.
Okay.
Yep, we had new people at the annual, and then this will be the first full board meeting since the annual in April.
And do I understand there could be 40 board members, 2 from each
Yeah,
town?
there can be quite a few.
Yeah,
We'll see.
sounds like quite.
I actually went
unwieldy.
to the Southport. Southport is the only town with a vacancy in my district, and I went to their select board meeting last week, and I got there and nobody was there, and the place was buttoned up tight as a drum. And of course, the office closes at 12:30, and they're not much for email, so
What time did you get there?
about 5:15.
All done at 5:03.
Man, exciting.
Either that or they knew you were coming, so bad up
There
the
you go.
things, yeah.
You need to show up at 4:30.
All right, anything else?
That's it for me.
All right, next on the agenda says executive session.
I move we enter discussion of personnel for executive session 1 MRSA 4056A.
second.
It's been moved and seconded, we go into executive session under the said statute. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
And
Real quick.
we're going into
How do you
executive
spell the lady's
session.
name?
Thank you.
Who's the new jail administrator?